Welcome to the exciting and new mini podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
I'm Dana.
And this is a mini.
I still, to this day, whenever I hit the record button in the music, there's a 3-second lag there, and it's like the longest 3 seconds of my life.
I'm like, oh, it didn't start.
I'm like looking at it going like 1, 2, 3, and then the music, I'm like, thank
It does feel
God.
like it's never going to start sometimes. I'm like, it's not going to start. I didn't watch anything new. I'm still doing Unstable season 2, and I'm in season 2 of Silicon Valley now, halfway through that. But there was a show on Netflix last night I saw. It was called Incoming, about 4 freshmen navigate the terrors of adolescence at their first ever high school party. Caitlin Olsen, Sweet D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Bobby Cannavale's in it. He's a teacher. He ends up at the party with a bunch of these freshmen and sophomores. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, I want to see that
Yeah,
now.
Bobby Cannavale.
I love him. Okay, I want to see it. Is it a movie or a TV show?
Netflix. It was a 90-minute movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Movie.
Silly movie. It was fun.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I watched it just because I was like, I want to watch something new to bring on here because I had nothing else new to bring because I was just watching Silicon Valley and Unstable. So I was like, all right, let me watch this. And I watched it and I was like, all right, I had a few laughs and that was good.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fun.
good.
Bobby Cannavale is just
I like
ridiculous.
him a lot.
I like him too.
Yeah.
I watched the first couple episodes of Unstable season 2 also.
Yeah.
Michelle and I watched that. I like that show. The cast is really good. Those two
And
girls.
his son's great.
Yeah, the two girls that work in the research.
Bailey and
Yeah, I don't know their names,
Luna?
but
Is it Luna?
I don't know anybody. I don't know what Rob Lowe's name's on there. And it was
I gotta get back
have
on
you
that.
seen it? Have you
I watched
seen-
the first episode of season 1.
It's so funny because as we started watching it, we were discussing before we watched like a little YouTube recap, and I was like, "What's the name of the shrink? Or who's the shrink that like is living with him, but he might have been kidnapped?" I'm like, "What?" And we were like rattling off names.
Yep.
We're like, "Is it Stephen Root? Is it Bill Hader?" We're like, "What all these names?" And it's Fred Armisen. And
Yeah.
he is hilarious.
His role was that it's so ridiculous. He is like there to check on him basically,
But
but then he
he's-
ends up moving in with him because his wife left
But
him.
then
right?
he's kidnapped. Like Rob Lowe doesn't let him go at one point. It's very
But
funny.
then he breaks back in
Right,
for
yes.
season 2, so he's moved him back.
Yeah, that's been a fun show. I like that.
I like it too.
Michelle and I went to a concert and a half over the last couple of days. We went and saw Bruce Springsteen on Wednesday with my mommy, and we actually saw Nancy and Jim there.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the parking lot with us. Listen, you can hate Bruce Springsteen, you can love Bruce Springsteen, whatever it is. The dude puts on an amazing show. He's like 75 years old, 3.25 hours.
He's up there with
He
like
doesn't stop.
McCartney. Him and McCartney.
He
These
doesn't
guys
stop.
put this 3-hour
I mean,
shows on.
he is truly amazing. And I'm not a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. In fact, 10 years ago, I would have said I hated Bruce Springsteen. I would have just been like, when I went to college and everybody was from Pennsylvania and I was from New Jersey, they were
Everybody
like,
says, "Oh, you're from Jersey.
They're
You
like
gotta love
Springsteen.
Springsteen."
They're like Springsteen,
No.
Bon Jovi. I'm like, no, I hate all that. I hate it all.
You were like overkill.
Right? Yeah. So I really haven't gotten into Bruce Springsteen until like the last 5 years, and I don't even know why. Like maybe I just happened upon him, and now there's songs that I like by him, but it was crazy because I don't know any deep cuts for sure. I'm radio, and that's it.
Yes.
But he has a lot of radio
and
hits.
he does.
Yeah.
And he does. But he played 30 songs, I think, and out of the first 15, I knew 4, and I was really kind of like.
4 out of 15's rough.
Yeah, I was kind of and maybe there were other songs I was like, oh, maybe I know this. Like, even Atlantic City. I know that song. He opened with that, but as it was going along, I'm like, I know this song, but I don't know what song it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he said, meet me in Atlantic City. I'm like, oh, it's Atlantic City. I'm like, okay, I guess I know this song. But, so there were songs
meet me.
So, halfway through, I was kind of like, okay, I guess this is okay. My mom was having a good time. That's what really mattered. It was her present anyway. And then at one point, he just I'm playing the hits now. And
No break, right?
no break.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, little Steven does a little 2-minute just little thing by himself. That was the only time Springsteen wasn't on the stage. And then and then he just starts with, I don't even remember what song it was. He does maybe 4 or 5 songs before the encore that were all like Badlands and Thunder Road and The Rising. I was like, oh, okay, I know all these songs. That was good. And then the encore was 5 or 6 songs, and it was all
Hits.
big.
Yeah.
Not Born in the USA. They didn't play that. Born to Run, Rosalita.
I saw that they played for the first time in like 8 years. Philadelphia.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They did do Philadelphia. It was funny. This was a very Jersey focused thing. Like he was talking about,
Well, he probably wasn't. This tour doesn't hit Jersey. That's the Jersey
I was like,
tour,
this is probably like the most local he gets. He was in Pittsburgh, he was in Boston, but this was like on the border with New Jersey, and he kept calling stuff out. Like at one, he did "Wrecking Ball," which is a song that I think he had an album called "Wrecking Ball." No, not my but like at one point,
cover.
At one point, he sang that at Giant Stadium when they tore Giant Stadium down, and so in the middle of the song, he goes, I grew up in the swamps of Jersey where the Giants play, and of course this is Philadelphia. Everybody started booing except for me. I was clapping, and he stopped the song. He's like,
"Who's that clapping?"
Yeah, but he stopped the song, and he's like, "Eagles," and everybody started cheering. He's like, "Fuck the Eagles!" I'm like, "Nice." So anyway, it was a fantastic.
Did
concert.
he really say F?
Yeah. He said it like 4 or 5 times. So I was kind of like,
there's a lot of kids at his shows and stuff like that.
But I mean, he put on a fantastic show, and really, I don't think I really even appreciated Bruce Springsteen until that he did that Broadway show. And it's a one man, just him with the guitar,
doing his songs, but he's like told stories.
It's like
right?
it's biographical. But it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. It was a special.
It came up one day on Netflix. I was like, it's like an hour and 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. It was fantastic. It really, it was fantastic. Anyway,
I might watch it.
So that was Wednesday night, and then last night we had tickets to see Sublime with Rome, and I'll say Sublime with Rome because Sublime, the lead singer, died of a heroin overdose like 4 years ago or whatever it was.
With Bradley Newell.
Okay,
that was the original lead singer.
Original guy.
But then his son was singing with him for a while.
Here's the thing. So yesterday afternoon, the kids were going. Michelle and I were going. This was at Asbury Park, the outdoor summer stage at Stone Pony. Yep. So I'm like looking it up, and I'm like, so who's in the original member? And it's the bass player and the drummer, and this other guy, Rome.
That's the
Rodriguez.
He's the guy who took over. Yeah.
And they sued, I guess, the estate of Bradley sued and said you can't use Sublime, so they started calling Sublime with Rome. So that was that. And I'm like, okay, so it's like 2 out of the 3 original guys, great, okay. And I'm looking it up, the 2 guys aren't in the band anymore. They have gotten with the kid of Bradley, Jacob, and now they are in a band called Sublime because the family has okayed that. So this was a fucking cover band. This was a guy that sang for Sublime for a couple of years, and
That's
2
not
other
right.
guys. And I was like, well,
they shouldn't be able to advertise that.
I was kind of like, I feel like I got duped into going, and so we drove down there. None of us were really that excited. I was like, well, who cares about Sublime with Rome if it's not even like any of the original members? I was like, this is stupid.
It's funny. This was brought up over the weekend with my sister and her husband, and I think my brother-in-law was like, "Yeah, what is going on with them? Who's in the band now?" And I was like, "Oh, Rome's not in it anymore." But I didn't Google to see what was happening. So now it's funny because I got the answer.
So the Sublime with Rome is nobody from the band.
Yeah.
So we got down to Asbury Park at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. They weren't going on till 9 because there was 2 openers, whatever.
They were the headliner too, right?
There was
not a good headliner.
No parking.
There never is over there. Yeah.
We drove up and down and back and forth and around and around.
It used to be real easy to get
for an
parking
hour. Yeah. Back in the old days, it was very easy. You park right in front of the arena.
Nobody else was going there.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some really nice townhouses there, right in the middle of town.
They've really done it up nice.
It really is nice.
You can thank the gay people.
I was going to say the gays moved in and they just straightened everything out there.
It's really nice down
there.
And
it's really, you can tell it's very gay-centric.
Every house has a gay pride flag hanging. Yeah.
But it's so we drove.
But it's still very dangerous.
The only parking lot we found was a $50 parking lot, and I was like,
"Oh my
God, $50 to park."
Are you serious?
Michelle's like, the tickets only cost $30. And I was like, $30? She's like, yeah. I'm like,
you're like, that's twice as much as
I was like, do we want to just go to dinner instead?
Yeah.
So we didn't even go to the concert. She's like, I put them on StubHub. I'll see what happens. Obviously, they didn't sell, but we just didn't even go.
Yeah.
I think everybody was really bummed out when we found out. It's not even really Sublime. It's like if the 3 of us started a band and just said Sublime with Dana.
Yeah.
And we're just and we're going to go out and tour like that and pretend that we're
dinner then.
I wonder if when they were. So I saw Sublime with Rome 15 years ago at Music Fest. So it was the actual other members of Sublime. But I wonder if when they got sued and they called it Sublime with Rome, if Rome had some kind of rights to that name and is able to keep touring under Sublime with Rome.
Maybe.
Because if they did something back then.
Rome should just go solo now.
Yeah, he should just call himself Rome. But it's like Jefferson Airplane, becomes Jefferson Starship and then Starship.
Starship,
Or what's the other one that I was thinking of the other day when this happened? I don't even. It doesn't matter. I mean, like it's false advertising for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
But that was it. We did concerts. Oh, and the only other thing
I'm glad I know this, so I don't go by mistake.
I watched that documentary about the drive-in.
Oh yeah. Was that good?
Montauk?
Mahoning
drive-through. So it was okay. It was fine. I mean, they were just interviewing a lot of the employees. Now this was maybe 5 years ago. It's like a pre-COVID kind of thing.
The guy died.
The guy that is in this documentary, Jim, died 6 months ago or something like that. So, but they all at the time worked for free. They were just kind of like, it was their after work kind of thing. They were only open Friday and Saturday nights, and they just went there and fixed the place up. And they were talking to the one guy that was really instrumental in, like, you can't just like play a movie. You have to like get the rights to the movie. And they specifically said, we are not going digital. That's how the whole documentary starts off. They're like, we don't have $60,000 to buy a digital projector. Like, we're going to go out of business. And then they decided, we're like, why don't we just do it with film? And so getting a 35 millimeter print of a movie is not that easy anymore. So there's a lot of calling places and trying to get stuff but then once you get it, you still have to like get the rights, because they had a night, it was Jaws, I guess Jaws and Jurassic Park. So they were doing two Spielberg like monster movies, I guess you would call them, and you know, that's how they were billing it. And they were talking about how like hard it was to get the rights to play them and stuff. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And just interviewing like these kids that worked there, I mean, like 20-year-olds that
the smaller movies were probably easier. Like if you sleepaway camps and stuff like that, it's probably easier to get the rights.
Those might
be
like public domain, you know.
But like a Spielberg stuff like that, you're looking at stuff. I don't know how much that kind of money.
And some of it's like you don't even have to pay a lot of it. You just have to get permission. Yeah, you know, because they're not charging that much. I think a lot
of these people, if you see that they're what you're using it for at a drive-in, a lot of these people are like, "That's awesome."
Yeah,
here, you know, maybe they might not charge them as much even.
So it was a fun documentary. It was only an hour long. I watched it at work on Friday because I was just like, I'm not doing any work today because I was so mad at work. I was just like, I'm watching TV all day long.
That's like Dana watching Community. I'm just kidding. You always watch Community?
I do.
At work? No. You work at home, so you're probably watching everything all the time.
I don't have a TV in my office.
She's all Community all time. It's always playing.
Listen, if I had a TV in my office, I would be so distracted.
Do you have music playing?
Yes.
That's why I didn't work from home when COVID was happening and everybody was working from home.
Yeah.
And Hibbert was like, well, some person has to go into the office every day. And I was telling everybody, I'm like, I'll just be that person. Whoever it was, Tara, Mike, Jeff, Julie, you guys don't have to come in. I will be your person today because I'd be at home on my couch watching. I remember I was watching whatever that Rick and Morty spin-off show that was on Hulu was. I don't remember what it was called.
What it was.
It was aliens like living on Earth. But I was watching that like every day. And I was like, I'm going to do a Futurama rewatch now because I'm at home and I can just do that. And all I was listening for was the bing of my emails popping in. I feel like I guess I have to get
when COVID first started, it definitely took a long time to get used to it. I was so sleepy when I was at home. It was very hard and distracting. And I went into the office all the time because me, Nancy, and Michelle were always there. I didn't want to be home. And especially because this is how Tara and I worked when we were at home. And she was a little over there, so my monitor was here and hers was there. And then we could just see each other's faces all day long. I was like, I can't do this. But so I didn't really do or watch anything new recently. Not that you guys cared, but I watched season 4 of Emily in Paris came out.
I didn't even know it was out. I thought it was on season 2.
Right?
I felt I just heard someone talking about that yesterday. Maybe Michelle was talking about it.
Well, yeah. So I know Brian's a big fan.
Brian Alpin? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Carrie.
Old producer?
Old producer.
Yeah, our old producer. He watches it. It was really good. Anyway, and then I started a new show called that my sister recommended called Crime Scene Kitchen. It's on Fox. I watched it because Joel McHale is the host of the show, and I love him.
What's it like? Disaster Kitchen?
No, it's like there's a kitchen and there's evidence in the kitchen of something that was baked. and these bakers, they're in teams of 2. They have like 2 minutes to look over the crime scene and figure out what dessert was made in this kitchen.
Oh, so it's not really a crime. It's
Right.
like they're just
So they go in and
It's
they're
a,
like,
it's
okay.
it's a cooking show
Yeah.
done in a
So they
different
look
way.
in the
yeah.
trash and there's eggshells. They look in the dish drain and
But
there's a
somebody
cleaned
made
pan.
brownies.
Yeah, there is. And then they have, so then they can figure out what it was, and then each team has like in 2 hours to go recreate that, and you get eliminated based on if you were right or not right. So it's really good.
It's on Fox, you said?
I think it airs on Fox,
Yeah.
but I'm watching it on Hulu.
We finished
So-
The Bear season 3.
Did
and
you?
based on that, I will say, fuck Joel McHale.
I know,
man.
he's an asshole in that show, right?
He's evil.
Yeah.
He's an evil person. And,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you watched season 3 or not. But
Not yet, but I remember him from season 1. He like picked on him really bad,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's in this.
I don't have interest in season 3 for some reason. I
I
don't know
tried.
why.
I did not. I watched half of the first episode and I was like, this is so boring.
Oh, no, it's a good season.
So,
There's a
I'm
lot
gonna-
of
I'm
like,
gonna keep
individual
trying.
episodes.
I
I
like
am
It's like,
gonna
season
try.
1 and 2, but why am I not having any interest in
I don't
season
know.
3? It's
I
weird.
know.
I don't know
sometimes you
why.
just fall
Because
shows like.
You know what does come back tomorrow though? It's only murders in the building.
Oh my
That's
God,
quick.
I'm
That
so
came back
excited.
So quick.
And we got Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
You got
Oh,
Eugene Levy.
Oh, fun.
Somebody else I heard too. I can't remember who it was.
Like, there's some shows that you just
Of
fall
girls, Melissa McCarthy.
McCarthy.
She's in it, I think.
I hate her.
Yeah, I'm not a big
But you
fan
know
of
what?
it
She
either.
could be one of those who you only
Hopefully
see them in
it's
the
just real
elevator
quick,
ones.
yeah.
You know how they did that
Like
with
Amy
Stain
Schumer?
and Amy Schumer? Like they were in the
Amy
elevator
Schumer.
one time or something. But
But
I think they're dating. I think Meryl Streep and Martin Short are dating.
in real life,
Yes, I'm pretty sure
Really?
they're a couple
That's
now.
nice.
I think they both are recently, or maybe she's recently divorced or whatever.
I think he's a widow. I think I remember
Okay.
hearing.
I
him-
do believe he is a
his-
widow
his
because I remember
wife died.
somebody asked him about his wife on an interview sometime,
And they didn't-
know that his wife had just
Right.
recently
Yes,
passed
I
or
remember hearing
something, I
that
think,
story. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
I
person
love
was
that
like,
because
"Why
I
didn't you
love
tell
him.
me?" Like,
Yeah, they're like, fuck.
Yeah, I love that show. I can't wait for it to come back.
You like Jiminy Glick?
It's funny because there's some
Oh.
shows that, like, I don't like Umbrella Academy. Michelle's in Logan the other day, like, oh, we got to start Umbrella Academy. It's the last season. I was like, if I never watch that, I'll never care. Like,
Let
it's like one of those
let the
shows-
last season be the finale for you.
Yeah,
Just
it's
accept that it's
except
over.
like that ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm
It
just kinda like,
doesn't matter.
"Ah."
No, they all went about their lives. Do not bother. I watched it. There are parts I liked. We watched it in a day. We
Umbrella
went through
Academy
it.
season 4,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Okay.
finale.
I remember her and
There
Stacy
were-
both watched it that first weekend when Stacy
Okay.
was
Yeah.
on. She had watched
and
it
I
too.
did, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what, that freaking pisses me off.
Interesting.
And yeah, like I wish they would redo it or not have rushed it. There was only 6 episodes.
That's
maybe
fast,
make
yeah.
10.
Or the others 8 or 10 seasons.
8, I believe.
yeah.
Make 8 episodes or do 10 and split it 5 and 5 or something. I don't feel like that show had a lot of fans, so I don't feel like it was something
I like
where
what
it was
Cobra
going to
Kai's
get
done so far.
canceled.
Oh, yeah.
5, 5,
Yeah.
5, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't-
that's another one where I'm like, if I never see it, I'm like, all right, but maybe I
Yeah.
will, maybe I won't. But
We watched
it's got
one
to
and
do
a
it.
half.
5 episodes is
Yeah,
quick, so I
it
like
is.
that.
We did.
There's
We
no
watched
filler,
1 and
you
a
know?
half, and Tara was like,
I think the
I'm
biggest
over it.
problem-
If you've already
shows-
5 seasons in, you got to finish that last
I
season
don't
sometime.
know.
But when I am, because
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to if there's a movie, I'm going to want to
I
watch
don't even
that.
remember how it ended, so I'm just kind of like, all right.
I don't think it
the
matters.
kids-
It
Well, it's
doesn't
like
really
the,
matter.
The
It picks
boys
up-
begins
it picks
and
up right
ends
where you
in
tell.
The same way.
The boys always ends in the same spot. You know, it's like,
But I'll still keep watching.
God damn it! Like, how
Yeah.
have they not killed this guy yet?
Because the thing, maybe they had planned on it, killing Homelander at some point, but that character is so great. I think if they got rid of him and tried to move on to a different storyline, it just would have sucked.
Speaking of Anthony Starr, they have a write-in, like a thing where you can send in things to get signed. Should I send my comic in?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's not the same, but it's still cool that it would be
Because I
signed
got
by
that
him.
comic. I want to get
I mean,
it
I've
signed.
gotten some things through
And
the
it's-
mail.
it'll cost me like $80
signed.
or something like
I
that,
got
I
like
think.
Rollins' book just signed off his website. I've
I've gotten that stuff like that before too. I've
That's
got
one-
Anthony Cumia's book like
Okay.
that.
How do you send it? Is with tracking? Like, are you?
There's a thing there's a place, the site Galaxy Con. You send it and there's a link and it says here's where you have to fill out this form, what you're going to be
Okay.
sending in. Then you send it in to them. I don't know if I have to give them enough money for shipping back. I think they ship it back.
But
to
do
me.
you send it FedEx? Like, are you
Yeah,
or
I
the
have to
post
send it-
office?
you have to package it up
It's-
the way
it's on you to
It's
ship
on
it,
you to
for
ship
sure,
it.
yeah.
So you got to pack it nicely
And you gotta give a
everything,
return label
I'll
and
definitely
stuff.
put it in a plastic. I have it in
Yeah.
plastic now, but I would get hard plastic for the comic before I send it off. You know what I mean?
I would just be so worried, one, to send it to the post office or FedEx because they would
Well, I would
freaking
I would
lose
definitely
it.
get a
Bend it.
box. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put it in. I wouldn't put it in an envelope. It would be in a
Yeah.
box, and I would make sure that it was like
Dang.
yeah. really reinforced. A lot of paper and stuff inside. You know. But
Do you think they'll ship it back with the same
I would hope
respect
so.
that you
I would
did
hope
it?
so. I think
you know
they
what I
would
mean?
because it's supposed to come back and it's graded. it'll have the certificate,
The
COA.
comic will be graded too.
I think I can get it graded.
Oh wow, that's
What does that mean?
Like the better quality.
You see these
Oh,
comic books
okay.
that'll have like a number on it, like 9.2.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. The higher the number, the better the comic.
Oh.
And then, so you'll get them. So like this comic could be worth so much money, but it's like a 5. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So then you're not
like-
going to pay as much
Yeah.
money
If
for
you
it.
get like
you know?
Action Comics #1 Superman, there's like 3 copies in existence that are 10s and they're worth like millions of dollars.
Oh,
but there's probably
shit.
like 1,000 that are a 5 and they're like a couple thousand. You're just
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
you
Because
got
they're
bent
like the ripped, the
corners and stuff
stapler
like that.
the staple came
Because
out.
kids
or something,
bought them back in the 30s
Yeah.
and treated them like kids would treat them, so there's very few
And
pristine
now if you
copies.
think about it, like I'm going to buy all these #1 comics that come out.
And
you
that,
can't,
dude, the
it's
90s
tough.
were like that,
Yeah.
man. Every weekend, the comics used to come out on Tuesdays, and Dan and I would leave Ryder College University and go to the comic book store and buy all the #1s because they're like, oh, which #1's going to be the big one? And
Yeah.
they were putting out 1 million of every
Did you get a
single
Walking
issue.
Did you like you?
I
I'm trying
don't
to
have
think
Walking
when you were in
Dead.
college was
I
what?
have Spawn #1, which is
Okay.
like $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's probably the only
I
one
got
that I
Walking
have.
Dead #100. I got like
Oh, that's the
11.
one where
I
Glenn
got like
dies?
11 issues of it.
That's
Where they
one.
had, they had all the
Glenn, right?
different variants of it.
Did
So I have
they-
a bunch of different variants of it. Issue #100, but
I
That
don't
was
know
the
much-
I don't
one
know if it's
where
worth
a certain
anything.
someone was beaten in to death.
Glenn,
with a
I'll
bat.
say it.
Yeah, fuck
I'll
that
spoil
show,
that
man.
show.
I'll spoil the shit out of that. I hope people are sitting at home going like, oh, I was just going to watch that show.
That's when I stopped watching it on TV.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
me
that.
too.
It was a little bit after.
A
I
little
think.
bit
So,
after.
yeah.
I came back because that was the season finale. I came back to the premiere episode and hated it. And I was just
Yeah.
like, nah.
I think I gave up the very next season when it was like
Carols and
they
the,
had.
the Norman Reeduses, they just got on my nerves.
Oh, yeah.
And now there's like they're doing a show, and now there's a Michonne and Rick one too. Like,
Yeah.
god damn,
I think they're
man.
making another spin-off. I think it's supposed to be in like
Oh yeah, Maggie and
Yeah.
Negan are getting their own
Yeah.
show too. Why? Who's watching these?
but why can't you make
shows?
another show? But why does that have to be part of that like world? Why can't you just do a new show about vampires or
Because people
about
are
this, you know,
uncreative,
about-
man. They'll-
Because they already have that following and people are watching it.
Yeah,
True.
And they're
and I'm
making
sure
all that money.
each one there's a drop off.
I'm sure your girl's
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah,
I'm sure she is too because she was insane. She
Yeah.
had the shit all
I
over her
know.
computer and stuff like
Just
that.
so everyone knows, we're not talking about Tara.
No,
Not that girl.
Not that girl. But I remember she sat in front of me in the office, and I like looked around her. I looked around the cube one time, and she had
Saw
like
Norman Reedus looking at you.
on the screensaver and on the label on the back of her laptop. I'm like, yo, what's up with that? She's like, oh my god. I'm like, oh my god, what?
Yeah.
She was weird.
And you know the thing is with that actor in general, like when he first started being on that show, you'd see him on like press interviews. He looked scruffy, but he didn't look that scruffy.
He looks
as
dirty
the
now,
years
yeah.
go by, he is becoming that person, and
Like,
he always looks dirty and
greasy,
greasy.
yeah.
Well, the thing was, I always heard was it was in his contract that he couldn't cut his hair. I'm like, they
can
have
still
wigs.
wash it.
They have wigs. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
didn't say
guys.
anything about washing it.
Yeah, I would have let him go with a man bun, anything
No
but
man
clean.
bun. That's
But he
ridiculous.
could have
Yeah.
cut his hair and put a wig on, and no one would have known. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people, professionals that could have put a
Oh,
wig on
yeah.
the dude, and no one would have known. And
Yeah.
I would have been like, I mean, I guess they're paying him a lot of money, but I would have been like, oh, I'm cutting my hair and I'm shaving.
Yeah.
In between
Yeah.
seasons, I'll always have scruff. How's that sound? I don't have to have like this because he had a patchy ass beard.
That
Yeah.
was something. Think about those shows where if a guy has a really big beard for a show or something, long hair, you know, like
I mean, that's a little different. That's
yeah, like sometimes.
Can't
But
just
then
say-
if you know you've got a movie starting in 8 months, you're like, oh, I got to grow this in.
Yeah, there's
You know
an
what I mean?
actor right now who was recently interviewed with very long hair for
Oh,
a
Jason
role.
Bateman. Jason Bateman looks like a
Yes,
homeless
so it's
person
Jason
now.
Bateman.
Yeah,
told me
Okay.
about that one.
Yeah.
But
All
then
right.
there's the infamously Henry Cavill had grown a mustache for a role. I don't even remember what it was now. It might have been the Mission Impossible movie. And then they needed what's it called when you come
Oh,
back? The
Superman.
pickup. They had to
Yeah.
film a new scene for Justice League, and they had to digitally remove his mustache.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't. He was still filming Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. He couldn't shave, and they were like, "We'll just digitally remove it." And it's like this.
Can you still see it?
Moving worm of skin on
Yeah.
his lip in that scene. They're like, didn't
And
they like? Did they wipe it off a little?
They did the same thing in the first Avengers movies. Chris Evans was growing something. Had to do it when they're all eating shawarma at the end. And
Yes.
he's sitting there like this with his hand
he's
over
covering
his
his
face, and he's kind of off to the side like this because
he was growing a beard.
He had to do something. He was growing something or whatever.
I think he was on Spreaker. That's where we're at. You can download, rate, subscribe, review, do all those fun things. It's an exciting new podcast on all of our socials. The Jazoo on Instagram, Jazoo74 over there on X. It's been the exciting and new mini podcast. I am Jason.
Agonzo1 on Twitter, Agonzo1970 on Instagram. I'm Andy.
Dana Caps on TikTok, Dana Cap 77 on Instagram. I'm Dana.